Follow your team from the draft through the playoffs. No layoff, we stay on the story, the payoff. It's 24/7 football at your fingertips. Watch, read, or listen. Blitz Analytics bringing it. BLITZALYTICS proudly presents Jack and George. Welcome to the Blitz. Welcome to the Blitz, y'all.
Thank you for tuning in and welcome into the Blitz Breakdown presented by BlitzLytics.com, where scouting meets analytics and you meet the newest crop of off-field talent. Big shout out to our sponsors, Key City Brewing, Drink, Rebel, Repeat. I am back, baby, after a 2-week hiatus and 2 different microphones breaking and a laptop breaking and a monitor breaking and lighting and a cell phone. I mean, it has been a spill the coffee kind of week. I tell you what, it's been a spill the coffee kind of month. And let's be honest, it's been a spill the coffee kind of year with the way 2020 has been playing out. But after this last weekend, my glass is full. It is overflowing with joy. Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Green Bay Packers. I mean, they didn't just beat them. They beat them 38-10. 38 unanswered points. Pick 6. 2 picks. The only one of, if not the worst game on Aaron Rodgers' career statistically. God, it felt so good. And I went 3-0 in my 3 leagues for fantasy football. And I went to bed last night going to sleep with a tie, knowing that at the end of today or end of last night that was going to turn into a win for my buddy Rod in a league that I've been playing in since I like the last 16, 17 years. So I was like 13. And one of my good buddies was going to beat me, send me to 1-5, and basically that would have been it. That would have been done so far. But some stat correction came in, and he got 2 less points. I don't know what happened. It's not in the activity. I didn't do anything. The other commissioner didn't do anything. It's not in the stat corrections. I don't know. I don't get it. Honestly, I do not know what happened. I almost feel guilty. Would have stopped that, but I know they can't. I know that's not like a one of those Chris Paul type trades where the NBA just gonna step in, NFL, whatever you want to call it. But anyways, the rich keep getting richer, and I hate this over the last couple of weeks. People have been saying that Clyde Edwards-Helaire can't run through the tackles. Looked like he ran through the tackles just fine. There's a difference between running through the tackles and being a power back, being a goal line back. He is 210 pounds. He is a smaller back. He is a heavy back for his size and his frame. But he isn't somebody who's pushing 220 or more like a Lev Bell. I think Lev Bell got all the way down to 205, but he's just a bigger, heavier set back. There's a difference between power and being able to run between the tackles. Clyde Edwards-Helaire can run between the tackles. He is not somebody who is going to push a pile or take on a 230, 240-pound linebacker, or even, for that fact, a defensive lineman and be able to push them back or push them across the goal line, across the first down marker. So, yes, Lev Bell is going to be taking those duties. But then think about this. Think about 22 personnel with Kansas City. If it's 3rd and 1, if it's 4th and 1, if it's 4th and goal, what happens when they bring Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell at the same time? A tight end or 2 tight ends, whatever it is, 12 personnel or 22 personnel, and they legitimate go from a 2 running back set to an empty set, and both of those guys can run routes out of the slot. Both of those guys can literally play slot wide receiver and be pretty damn good at it. Both of those guys, I think, are probably, 1B and 1C or B and C behind Christian McCaffrey as some of the best running backs in the NFL as of right now. Well, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, rushed for over 160 yards yesterday, just basically ate it up. He is still going to be the primary back. Le'Veon Bell is going to take a back seat to him, but he's still probably going to get, I would say 8 to 10 touches a game. He can't ask or expect for a whole lot more. He also hasn't been healthy really over the last 2 years. The Jets didn't use him, properly. They also didn't have the offensive line that KC does. But to jump back to the Buffalo Bills, it has not looked pretty. It didn't look good for Josh Allen. They drafted Josh Allen to be able to play in bad weather games, and it did not look good. I mean, he's played in bad weather. He's played in snow and rain, dating all the way back to his days in Wyoming. But I don't know if it was the weather. I don't know if it was just the rising to the occasion of playing KC was just too much for him. I think this was probably one of his biggest games to date. It definitely his biggest game this season, and he didn't get much help from his wide receivers, but some of those plays were just bad. He missed, on the very first drive, he missed Cole Beasley on an easy throw, and it was just downhill from there, to the point where the very last throw of his game was him throwing a 50-50 jump ball to Cole Beasley. Who in the hell throws a 50-50 jump ball to Cole Beasley? Little old slot wide receiver Cole Beasley. He can rap, but he can't jump. Like, come on now. Like, if you need somebody to spit some bars for you, we got you. You need somebody to go moss three guys in triple coverage. Don't throw it to Cole Beasley. Josh, what are you doing, bro? That was bad. But, then you want to talk about Stephon Diggs walking back, basically already knowing that the game's a wrap, but not even giving a damn, not trying. I hate to see that, and this is kind of why he was let go from Minnesota. I'm not going to get, over hyped about this or act like I'm super pissed off. The game was over. I mean, they weren't coming back from that with, less than a minute to go. Miracles do happen, but, it just wasn't one of those nights. Even though, he is the guy who caught the Minneapolis Miracle, so he should expect, know that there is a chance for stuff like that, but it just wasn't his night. And between the run game not living up to what it was just this last year, I don't know if, trying to get Zach Moss healthy. I don't think it's a Devin Singletary problem. I think it's just an offensive system problem. They're relying way too much on Josh Allen. The ground game isn't helping Josh Allen by any means, but I think they need to be a little bit more persistent in handing the ball off and setting up the play action, trying to get the run game going, and before they completely abandon it and just have Josh throw, 3 straight times like they did to open up the game. It was just, once he was off rhythm, there was no way of getting it back, and it doesn't look like he has a very good reset button. He needs to find that reset button. He needs to be able to, live for another play, live for another down. He did play his ass off still, but, just the mechanics, the throwing, the accuracy was just off. And, I don't know. Aikman and I know there was somebody that talked about it. I think Chris Sims talked about it. They basically just buried Josh Allen after one bad game, 2 bad games maybe in a row. Just buried him for his accuracy, after he's, still completing over 65% of his of his throws. So they need to just shut their mouth and not be, willing to jump on or bury somebody that quickly. Anyways, in terms of the other game, the Dallas Cowboys cannot seem to get out of their own way. from injuries and penalties and offensive play calling and just coaching. It's bad. It is downright bad. I don't think Dalton was that bad of a quarterback last night. I mean, it got off. It looked ugly quick. The team seemed to look like they just gave up. It looks like they are just kind of in the dumps because of the whole Dak Prescott situation. And I'm very, very disappointed to see that. Very upset to see that. As much as I like to see the Cowboys falter and just fall flat on their face, I kind of expected more from them. I went to go change. I had the Dallas Cowboys in that game, and then I just was like, this isn't going to happen. I already knew it. I went to go change my pick'ems, and then I, talked myself out of it. Like, nah, stick with it. I don't know why I did that. That was terrible. But the Dallas Cowboys got worked last night. I mean, it was just bad. It was not what you would hope to see from a team that is, again, they're already depleted. They got some guys back. They got Leighton Vander Esch back. They have some players back on defense. But I think it's more coaching than anything else. I think this defensive system is not set up for the thing. The offense is lackluster, and they rely on the talent instead of scheming the talent or making plays for the talent. And this is the same thing we've seen at Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, and I'm sure Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur have to feel a little bit vindicated in their performance, not this last Sunday, but this year specifically, and being able to live up to the hype that the Matt LaFleur, Aaron Rodgers chemistry was going to be, and this Matt LaFleur offense has made it a lot easier on Aaron Rodgers. Dating back to this last weekend, it was just downright bad because they couldn't protect to save their lives, even when they did have Bakhtiari in. As soon as Bakhtiari went out, they ran a two-man blitz right at that new left tackle, and there was another sack, and another sack, and another sack. Got sacked 4 times, was pressured all day long, and so I do have a bone to pick with the power rankings from ESPN. How in the hell? Please explain this please explain this to me. How are you going to have the Seattle Seahawks at 1? 2, how are you going to have the Green Bay Packers above the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just their ass 38-10? You have the Packers at 6 and you have the Bucs at 7. Please explain this to me. As you can see, or I have my teams at, or I have teams. Let me move across over here for you. KC 1, Tampa Bay 2, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Green Bay, Seattle, Baltimore, Buffalo, Vegas, Chicago, LA, Indy, New Orleans, Cleveland, New England, AZ, and I'm sure you can read the rest of them from here. Those will be forever changing every episode, but come on now. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Like, for one to have the Seattle Seahawks as the one. They are the worst defense in the NFL. Do we just not care? Do we really think that the fact that Seattle hasn't beaten a team that currently or at the time had more than one win? They have 5 wins. At the time of their strength of schedule, every one of those teams had 1 win or less. Like, are you kidding me? Really? Kiss my ass. Seattle Seahawks are not the number 1 team right now. The Kansas City Chiefs still are. And the Tennessee Titans are right there. I really do think the Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs should probably be there. I think I do have a little bit of bias with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But what happens if the Buccaneers are to play the Tennessee Titans and the Buccaneers shut down Derrick Henry like they have shut down every back in the NFL this season? I'm talking Alvin Kamara. I'm talking Christian McCaffrey. I'm talking Aaron Jones. You want to name some more good backs? Go be my guest. They've shut every one of them out. And that is why that the Buccaneers are going to be so damn good, because they make teams one-dimensional. They basically slice them up. They slice them up into 3 different sections on offense, and they slice them up into 2 different sections defensively. Defensively, you are not going to be able to run the ball on them, so you are completely one-dimensional. Offensively, or when the Bucs are on offense, I should say, they have each and every way to cut you up. They have the tight ends that are running up the seam. They have the wide receivers that can stretch the field. They have the wide receivers that can play the possession game. They have the route runner. They have the possession wide receiver. They have the speedster. Tyler Johnson's finally coming into his own, and he's going to be pushing Scotty Miller for that number 3 spot. He is ultra talented. and is everything that he looked like he was going to be when he was at Minnesota this last year. You still have Scotty Miller who can take the top off the defense, who is still a damn good, slot / over the top receiver. And then you have Justin Watson. So, I mean, they have guys. They have people. They still have two awesome tight ends, even though they are down O.J. Howard. They still have a hell of a pass rush, and they still have arguably the best, one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL right now, top 2, top 3 in the Ndamukong Suh, even though they lost Vita Vea. They will be okay. They traded and added some depth to that nose tackle position to replace Vita Vea. They're doing things, and they are making moves right now. The Pittsburgh Steelers are another team to talk about. They have been on a roll, but they're going to take a huge step back defensively. Devin Bush, I think, has been the heart and soul of that defense since he got there last year. That's going to be a major blow. I don't care what anybody says. The secondary is lacking. It's got plenty of room to grow, but if you look at the teams that the Steelers have beat, the Giants, the Broncos, the Texans, the Eagles, the Browns, the Browns are the best team. Really? Again, count the wins between all those teams. If you take out the Browns, it's 1, 2, 3, 3 wins. That's not 3 wins at that time. I don't think the Steelers are as good as we think they are. I think we're going to find out how good the Steelers are when they face the Tennessee Titans. But I have had multiple Steelers fans say this this year. Roy Countryman, I believe, said it. And I've heard other Steelers fans say this in the years past. Big Ben and the Steelers are notorious for playing up or playing down to their level of competition. So it's going to be a very good game. This is going to be one of the best games of the year. This game against the Pittsburgh Steelers this next year is going to mean more than any other year or any other games leading up to this in terms of determining one seed. Maybe this Tampa Bay Green Bay game this last weekend, but from the AFC standpoint, this is going to be a barn burner. This is going to be a very, very important matchup. So make sure you guys tune into the Tennessee Titans versus the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend. The Titans, on the other hand, they did lose Taylor Lewan, which is bad. They do have Kelly, though, so they still have decent, proven commodities at the tackle position. They do have a young rookie right tackle, but who's been playing pretty well. They're still going to be able to run the ball. They're still going to be able to do what they did. But, yes, Taylor Lewan is arguably the best left tackle in the game right now. And, as a bussin' with the boys, I am terribly sad to hear that his season's been cut short. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. Moving on down this list, though, having the Saints at 9, having the Rams at 10, the Bears 11, I don't know. I'm pretty sure mine checks out with that pretty well. Vegas, is going to be an interesting matchup against Tampa Bay Buccaneers this next week. The ESPN has them at 15. I've got them at, 9? It's going to be a good matchup. I do think that the Raiders are built to be a team to give the Bucs some fits. I think the Bucs match up with them against their secondary very, very well. I think that Chris Godwin's going to have a heck of a game. I think that Gronk and Cam Brate are going to have their way with those linebackers, and it's going to get interesting. I will say that for sure. But I do think the Bucs just have too much firepower. If they can get by those offensive line and create pressure for Derek Carr, it's going to be a rough day. But the Bucs and those Bucs linebackers are going to have a tall task with Darren Waller. I expect Darren Waller to be to see a lot of Antoine Winfield Jr. In man coverage and press. They're going to try and stuff him at the line of scrimmage, and they're going to blitz the shit out of Derek Carr. It is going to be interesting to see for sure. The Niners are another team, man. You can't really point out as to what they're going to do from week to week. Who would have thought, I don't think maybe 1 or 2 people had predicted that they were going to come out and beat the Rams in terms of the Bucs Pick'em League. I didn't see it coming. They do pay the Patriots this next week, and then they've got the Seahawks and the Packers and the Saints and the Rams again. And then the Bills, so they have some tough tasks ahead of them. They also lost Raheem Mostert again with a high ankle sprain. So it's not looking good for the Niners. They can't stay healthy. They have more people in IR than anyone else in the league right now. I think they're right on par with the Dallas Cowboys. But it is not looking good. The Patriots aren't looking too good either, though. They just suffered another devastating loss. Now they're 2-3 for the first time in God knows how long. I think since like 2004 is the first time they've been below 500. It has been a long, long time, and there is no way that they're not going to come out swinging against the Niners. But the Niners defense kind of rose to the occasion against the Rams last week. I know it was a divisional game, but it's going to be another interesting one. I'm excited to see what they do. I'm excited to see what Cam Newton does. I'm starting to get nervous. I have Cam Newton in a fantasy league, and I don't know if I can trust him anymore. Was it just a flash in the pan? Was it just them showing their hand, the first week, and that team not knowing what was going to look like with Cam Newton? Cam Newton hasn't looked the same. It's gotten progressively worse every week, and this last week was by far the worst against a banged up, Broncos defense that has basically been taken advantage of by almost every offense that they've faced, and yet somehow the Patriots couldn't do anything. Patriots wide receivers can't get open to save their lives. They can't create any separation. It has not been easy for the Patriots. I don't know why I want to keep saying the Panthers. It's because of Cam Newton. I'm interested to see what happens there. I really, really am. From a defense standpoint, they haven't been, again, they've so depleted the pass rushes in there. The offensive line, before I jump into the defense, actually, it's been the biggest thing. They've been down a few bodies now, and they can't seem to get it right. Cam Newton's been under pressure more than any Patriots quarterback that I've seen in a long, long time, and this isn't just because it's, Cam Newton and he's holding the ball, but he did miss quite a few reads and quite a few wide open wide receivers, just didn't even see him or didn't get the ball out in time, and it added up quickly. So I would say they need to reassess what they're doing. They need to either go trade for a wide receiver. They better figure it out, because without it, this division for the AFC East is wide open right now. Like, if you're looking at it, the Buffalo Bills lost 2 straight. Nothing's clicking for them on offense. Nothing's clicking for them on defense. The Miami Dolphins are 3-3, and now they decide to replace Fitz, who's been playing out freaking standing, by the way. Now they're going to replace him with Tua. I don't know about that. That to me makes no sense, but obviously, they must know something. They were very, very excited for, even Fitz was cheering for Tua. I think Fitz is one of the classiest people, even with that beard. It's not a very classy beard. It is a very caveman style beard, but he's a very classy Harvard individual, and to see him rooting for Tua getting his first snaps in, and then watching Tua, sit out there and kind of, I don't know if it was reminiscing, I don't know if it was, some meditation back on the 50-yard line or wherever he sat, but it was just nice to see him get those snaps in, get those reps in, complete those first 2 passes, and then, soak it all up and understand that he's finally there, that he's going to be in the NFL for quite some time. But the AFC East is wide open. I mean, minus the Jets, obviously. I have no idea what's going to happen. I still think that the Buffalo Bills will get it right. But, you never know. If Tua comes out playing lights out, then it's going to be interesting. But if Tua comes out and plays bad, then they have to go back to Fitz. To me, if your team's winning, if your team's 500, if this is the best your team's been in quite some time, dating back to, that 10-6 season with Tannehill and Adam Gase, I think you keep them. You keep them, you ride it, you roll with it, and you see what happens, down the hall or down the road. I just don't think that you should be pulling, especially after a couple big wins, pulling somebody, somebody who's been playing very, very well. Put up a fight against the Seattle Seahawks, against that defense. But, I'm intrigued to see what Tua does. If Tua comes out and plays, up to par with what Fitzmagic has been playing, then that's going to be a good thing. That's going to be very, I'll say it's going to be exciting to see what they do. Outside of that, guys, I really don't have much. I'm trying to do this. This solo stuff just doesn't fly with me. I'm not very good at it. Trying to look. I think this is it in terms of news, in terms of what we've got going on in the NFL. I mean, the Cowboys suck. Kyler Murray had, a nice performance last night, but again, these defenses are just atrocious. There's nothing that these defenses can do. The Cowboys, have no form of defense. The what is it? The Cowboys. It's the. I just got done talking about them. Ah, damn it. All right. Well, this has been the Blitz Breakdown presented by BlitzLytics.com, where scouting meets analytics and you meet the newest crop of off-field talent. I am Jack Bourgeois, and I have lost my train of thought. So, Blitz out. Oh, check out the Prospect Encyclopedia. Go to BlitzLytics.com/shop and buy your copy of the BlitzLytics Prospect Encyclopedia, which is also available on Amazon, Target, Barnes & Noble, and bookstores everywhere.